or J for short. That's J, he is W, and together we are
JWTalks.
JWTalks. Yes, sir. All right,
Chilling.
so Mr. Will, you said you had some interesting things to talk about. So what's on your mind?
Well, first and foremost, we're really just here to hang out. That's our
Yeah,
main goal.
exactly. Yeah, we're just here to
But
chill.
we are going to talk about some crazy things. Like, I don't know, but if anyone out there is interested in this, but we're talking about just like conspiracies. Really, we talk a lot about God, our impression of what God is, and I think that is pretty cool. We're also going to like do some cool stuff where we just talk about the internet, really anything that comes to mind that we find cool at the time. We're gonna be like, usually we have these cool ass FaceTime calls. So if we're ever like having a FaceTime call like that, we're just gonna hop on
Yeah,
and
yeah, we'll
start.
just hop on to Rumble and start streaming so you guys can join us, you know?
Obviously, we're fantabulous, amazing human beings, so we're worth being watched. So yeah, that's how
Absolutely. Yeah.
we're. By the way, this was such a pain in the butt to get started, but we
Yeah, you
finally
guys
got.
don't even know. This was such a pain. It took us almost an hour, but we got it.
Yeah, it was a little rough, but we're chilling now, and
Well,
we're
looks
gonna
like we
just.
got five. All
Oh
right.
shit!
All right.
Wait,
So, yeah.
can I
Uh,
do that?
for
Yay!
those who just joined, I am Jay. He is W. I am also known as Jake and William. And yeah, we're
Yeah,
just here to
Jake.
chill, just hang out.
Yeah, we're just really here to have a good time. That's our main priority.
Um,
One cool thing that I really want to talk about. I think that honestly, the best way to have these conversations is just by taking a dip into the deep end, jumping in. And I think that Jake, we could talk about maybe our opinions, like religiously, and how just the world works. Not even specifically religion, but more just existence. So, like, talk to me about like what you think in relation to how we work
Of
today.
course, of
As
course. No, so when I first started, I started thinking. So actually, I started thinking about this back when I was young, about like, I'd say 14, 13. Back when I just started becoming a teen. And initially, I was.
legit.
Yeah, a little legit. But I started off on the more traditional side, where I thought existence is a byproduct of creation, and our job simply is just to go through the course of life while doing the best that you can and making sure that you spread goodness, because humans, I believe, are inherently good. So
What a good guy. What a great
exactly,
guy.
exactly,
Round of
exactly.
applause for Jake.
Yeah,
What a
yeah,
wonderful guy.
yeah. I'm so
Hello.
great. But interesting. This was before I met Will, actually, and after I met Will, this was way in the future, like time skip of 5, 6 years. Um, I started, my beliefs have evolved to become more agnostic, where I am 100% open to the idea of a higher power existing, and as we and Will talked more, that belief has only been strengthened. Not necessarily
Oh
now,
yeah. Big
now,
time.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And now I don't know
I'm
if you
the
people
OG.
watching, I don't know if you people watching have heard of this little work of art called the Da Vinci Code. But that was
Oh,
probably the tipping point for me. After Mr. Will told me about that, I had to watch it. And
yeah,
oh my goodness.
I'm gonna cut in real quick on that just to give a little cover on what that is. The Da Vinci Code is essentially, if you haven't checked it out, it's any person's easiest introduction into conspiracy theories and religion. Not only does it cover basically Christianity and the twisted, crazy conspiracy theories behind it, but it also introduces you to just a whole world of wild things that happen right before your eyes. It's an author. His name is Dan Brown. He's just a really smart guy,
Fantastic
and
person.
they're just the coolest thing in the world. It talks a lot about, obviously, through the name Leonardo da Vinci, and he just has some of the coolest conspiracies embedded in his artwork. An interesting fact about the Da Vinci Code: it is a fictional story, but all of the information in the story is historically accurate, if that makes any
Yeah, and
sense.
that's
So
and
when
that's the
we talk
key.
about, yeah, it's fictional characters going and exploring a conspiracy that is historically accurate, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Now
exactly.
there are some parts of it there where they go off the line, but the basic summary of it would be, and this is just the coolest way to get started in it. But Jake, have you heard about the conspiracy of Mary Magdalene?
Yeah. Oh boy. Now this one, when
Yeah.
Will first told, now chat, when Will first told me this, at first I was like, okay, okay, okay. But then I actually looked into it and I actually watched the Da Vinci Code, and bro, like this shit lines
Oh my.
up. Like it lines up. It's not just just your regular like. No, this shit lines up.
It, it's very wild. So the theory about Mary Magdalene, if you guys don't know, Mary Magdalene is a woman and she is in the Bible. She has a lot of appearances in the Bible. She's depicted to be a prostitute and she is a sinner who presents herself to Jesus, and
Mm-hmm.
Jesus forgives her and she like washes his foot with her tears in her hair or something.
Now
Some
there's a
weird shit.
slight misconception there, a slight one.
Really? Oh, I don't. I may have forgotten it. What is
Oh
it?
no 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 no! Like you were on it. Like the slight misconception is that people view her as a total prostitute, and that's
Oh,
not
exactly.
necessary. Exactly.
So the likelihood is she may. We don't know. We weren't there. She may have been a prostitute, but likelihood is that, and we'll get there in a moment. But she formed a relationship with Jesus, and she was described in the Bible to be what was the word, Jake? The It was either companion or partner of
Oh yeah yeah.
Jesus.
Companion. And back then that
Yeah,
meant something different.
back then that means wife, and
Yeah.
Jesus is depicted as a Jew, and so Jews at the time had to be married.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a Jew who doesn't sin, which is Jesus, and you're following the word of God, that would mean that at his age, which was 30 by the time he was crucified, 30 plus a few years, he would, by word of God, be supposed to having children and a wife.
Mm-hmm.
And so Leonardo da Vinci, going back to the point, what he did essentially was embedded throughout all of his artwork, The Last Supper, a few other artworks that I don't know the name off the top of my head, but he essentially embeds clear facts that would point towards saying that Jesus is a married man and he's married to Mary Magdalene.
Yeah.
And so you'd be like, wait a minute, this like totally that goes again. This is so off the lines of the
Yeah.
Bible. Like
See, right? Like, cause that's the
it
thing. You know.
it doesn't make sense. But then you have to consider, and this is where you get into really deep stuff,
Yeah.
but
This. Yeah.
this,
Exactly.
this is where you have to think about. So in the early Roman Catholic Church, there was a meeting. And in this meeting, they
Mm.
decided what would be in the Bible, the modern Bible. And it was a bunch of really important popes and a really important Roman officials. And they had a meeting where they decided, okay, we are no longer going to worship the sun god that we currently worship, and we're going to switch to worshiping Christianity, Jesus Christ, the word of the Christian God. And so what happened there is, in this meeting, they took the Bible and they read it and they were like, okay, how do we change this to where it fits the life of Romans
Yeah.
and our power that we want? So first and foremost, women get nothing. Absolutely nothing. Women are powerless. This is what the Romans wanted, as unfortunate as it is. And so first thing to do is to take Jesus, and since he is the son of God, he cannot be he doesn't need a wife. He was born by a miracle. And so he is a miracle person. He doesn't have a wife and kids that passes on Jesus. Jesus is the Son of God. Jesus
Yeah.
doesn't have children or anything like that. And so this is where it gets super fucking weird and crazy and twisted. Bear with me, folks. But essentially what happened is the church said, okay, we need Jesus, who very well may have just been a very prominent political figure. We need him to be the child of God
Mm-hmm.
and the son of God,
Yeah.
meaning that he was born by God. So he is born by a virgin and the miracles are performed. And he moves down into his, or he doesn't move down into anything. The miracles are performed and he is born by Mary, Mother Mary, and it's a miracle because she's a virgin.
Exactly.
And comes and he performs all these miracles. And the theory would be that the Roman Church is kind of, and this is super controversial. This is where, and this is just an idea, but the Roman Church kind of made a lot of that stuff up in order to create undeniable proof that
And that's the
God,
key. That's the key.
yeah, exactly. It's these miracles, these acts of beyond the physical world, beyond physically explainable. They're like magic.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it inarguable. That's what makes it not possible to match to physics, is these things that they incorporated into the Bible, causing us to, originally it was to give them power and to make it more digestible. So for example, the day of Christian God is Saturday, but in ancient Rome, you, when you worship the god of the sun, you would go to church on Sunday.
Sunday.
And
Yep.
so they said, okay, now since
Sunday's
the
the
day of
holy
God
day.
is Saturday, but everyone goes to church on Sunday, why don't we just make the day of God Sunday?
Exactly.
And that's a perfect example of a change that they made so that it would fit the Roman day of life.
And now, excuse me, sorry, let me interrupt you for 1 second.
No, go ahead,
and that
man.
is an example of, how, what should I call it? I can't call this a Mandela effect per se, but it's the same, it's a similar concept, where you thought the holy day has always been Sunday, or you may not have thought that, whichever, but it was actually previously Saturday and it was changed, and now we don't know that it was changed. That's the key. That's what I do.
The thing I find super, super interesting is it really speaks to the lack of what we know. Like, think for a minute about how little we actually know about history. Think about, like, so if Sunday, and we do know this, so there are some people, it's unfortunately going away and away and away, but there are some people who still know that there are endless historical facts that just aren't true and have been placed there by someone in power to alter what we think entirely. To just rewire our brains. And it's insane to me. Well, that's where you get kind of into like more conspiracy mode.
Conspiracy stuff, yeah. It's the truth. It's what happens.
Totally. Well, and the key theme of this is that, and this is always something we're going to root back to, is the altering of information to fit the needs of people. And that I hate the most in the world.
It's a big thing today.
Well, and it's a poorly masked grab to power, and I hate it. I think it's disgusting, and I think it's stupid personally.
Definitely. And I feel like
it makes history super cool.
It does.
Or go ahead.
It does, and that it's because. So think about it. Think about it this way. So imagine. Actually, no, that's a bad example. So imagine your whole life you've known this one thing, and it's been drilled into you many times, only for you to then, say 10 years later, figure out that the whole time that was a cover-up.
Oh shit! Yeah, exactly. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, that's my point.
Find out it's a cover-up. Well, and with that, dude, you can. That's life. Like, so I got a perfect comparison. Imagine going somewhere every single day to learn and then figuring out that it's meant to turn you into an idiot that just works for someone.
Yeah. Think about that.
Imagine spending your whole life buying medicine that has literally just destroyed your brain.
Yep. And actually, that actually brings in that. Sorry, I'm going on a little tangent here, but so the current problem with ADHD being overdiagnosed.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an issue where drug pharmaceutical companies are overdiagnosing and
Be
wrong.
careful talking about pharmaceutical companies because of
Um,
for the reason I wouldn't talk poorly about banks.
yeah. But basically they're just overdiagnosing ADHD and all that stuff. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
like
whole different thing.
I think that there's a problem and there's reasons, but we can't really talk poorly about
Yeah,
banks or
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Save that.
pharmaceutical companies.
We'll save that for the Phage times.
Yeah, we'll get that one for the FaceTime. Exactly. But that's something we're gonna have to remember. We can't talk about banks and pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. Of course.
Um, a lot.
Yeah, a lot. Here and
But
there, but not make sure we.
one hilarious thing, my mom and dad, who are very, very well informed people, do not know who Bohemian Grove is or what Bohemian Grove is. Like, I don't know. I felt like that was pretty common information. I would challenge everyone out there. We're going to clip this and make everyone watch this on social media. Do your parents know what Bohemian Grove is? Like, is that something that they know about, or do your friends know about Bohemian Grove? Because I felt like it was very common information. It's something we should all know about. But start asking people
Do you know
the
about
things that
Bohemian
you
Grove?
think is common information. Like, do you know about Bohemian Grove? That's a perfect question to ask people.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we're gonna clip up and put up because literally it's a good question. It's like same question you can ask. Like you can go. This is where you get very conspiracy theory-y, but you can say, I'm trying to think of one that's not too out there. Bohemian Grove is a good example. You can say, I don't know.
Thank you to everyone that's joining. Welcome.
Hi, well, the extra one or two people, welcome. My name is Will, and that's Jake.
Yeah, we are JWTalks.
Yes.
So yeah, welcome. And now, with the Bohemian Grove thing, have you asked your parents that?
I asked my parents if
What'd they
they knew
say?
about Bohemian Grove, and they said they didn't know anything about Bohemian Grove. And my parents are wonderful people. I love my parents so much. They're amazing. They're the best. But they decide not to learn about certain things because it makes them anxious and worried, and it like disaligns them from what they think to be true. So they kind of just ignore it a little bit. And so
Isn't that
they
a
would
little
not.
fallacious? Don't you think?
Yes, they're my parents, and so I'm not gonna call them out for their shit because I love them and they've given me the world. But
Of course.
people definitely do that. I think people definitely do that. I think that's a bad thing. Like I'm not here to talk poorly about my family, but I
Yeah.
think that my family has fallen for a lot of bullshit, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I think like whenever my family tells me like, Will, stop talking like that, I'm like, all right, stay in the herd,
Yep.
stay a sheep,
Yeah, I was gonna
stay a sheep.
say become part of the flock.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that's just
Fuck you.
yeah, it's just what happens. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Now, oh yeah. So interestingly enough, I forgot where I saw this, but this guy was basically saying, "Hi, so the common story of, oh man, I just had the point. Sorry, my train of thought has left the station. Just give me a
No
minute."
worries. We should have someone talk in the chat. I haven't seen a single chat yet.
Oh yeah, if you guys feel free to ask
I
us
don't know if
questions in
anyone
the
does
chat.
that.
Feel free to
I don't
ask
know
us
if that's
questions in the
something that we
chat.
do, but
Yeah.
say hello, interact with us, ask any questions if you'd like. I don't
We
know
are
if you guys
open.
are interested in
We're
one
open to
thing.
questions. Definitely open to
Yeah,
questions.
totally. Now, one thing I'll just start off with a question that I have is like, why do you think that people don't want to hear this information? Like with my parents, how they don't want to hear about Bohemian Grove because they know it's a conspiracy. Like, why?
Now,
Why do you think that happens?
yeah, I don't think it's solely because it's a conspiracy, but it's probably the fear of change mixed with a little bit of what do you call it? tradition. No one wants to leave tradition, right? Everyone likes, tradition, things staying the same. Once things change, or once they're under the threat of changing, or if your beliefs could possibly be threatened, we get defensive. The fight and flight kicks in, and some can take that a little to the extreme and put up their walls and just.
Well, the thing that I don't understand about that is with let's say, for example, the leftist agenda, that's all based off of brand new information. So why would you hold it dearly like it's something that's been passed down or something? I don't even know.
It's a good. I feel like
So I
when it
think it's
comes to
something else.
that, yeah, when it comes to that, I feel like it's just a little bit. I feel like it's just mob mentality. With
Yeah,
yeah,
that's an extreme example because it's just nonsense.
yeah, that's I don't know. I couldn't think of any other rational
Like
explanation.
like woke and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's just irrelevant.
yeah, exactly. Just
No,
following the
100%.
crowd. Now, a big question would be how would one properly go about, how do I phrase this? Breaking the horse? Does that make sense? Because how we break horses before we ride them, right? How would one go about How would one go about? How do I say this? Like, how do I say this without sounding dumb? Like waking them up, but like that sounds, it sounds very red.
Jake, I don't know what you are saying right now.
No, how would one go about diverting them from their agendas, making them branch out?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I phrased it poorly.
No, I'm kidding. You have to relate to them, in my opinion. It's like you have to find a way to
find a way to touch their soul.
No, because they're not going to touch the soul of some fucking idiot. You have to figure out why they think like that. Like, if you want my honest answer. You have to be able to come to the same conclusion as them and then think beyond it and change your own mind.
Actually, that's a good point. In order to change someone else's mind, you should start by trying to change yours.
Correct.
Yeah, because otherwise you just get two opposing viewpoints that'll never come to an agreement.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's totally true. I think someone who totally understands
that. That's a big part in what's going on at most controversies.
One of my biggest inspirations, Jordan Peterson, he talks about that a lot. He talks about how the smartest people most of the times, the smartest people are the people who listen the most and you can be a brilliant mind, but you're not using it properly if you're not willing to listen.
Exactly.
Because that person who listens is the person who is open to learning from others.
Yeah, they're open-minded.
They're really powerful tool.
Exactly.
Because you can.
Because if you're listening to someone, or quote unquote listening, in other words, just waiting for your turn to speak, you're not gonna get anywhere. You're just gonna keep rehashing the same points, coming to the same disagreements and conclusions, and the discussion is pointless. So versus someone who's actually listening to what you're saying, thinking about it, and then coming up with a response, you actually discuss and you can come to common ground.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, well, and that's exactly the point. It's that think about thinking and then think about talking with someone. It's thinking out loud with someone else who is also thinking out loud. And so why would you not want to incorporate, the point of a conversation is to have people think out loud together, why would you not listen to what other people are thinking and really think about it? Because then you're totally breaking the point of a conversation. The point of the conversation is to learn other people's opinions. And people are so captivated on being right that they're like, no, I don't need to learn. I need to teach. Teach. It's like
everyone can learn from someone.
You can learn too.
Yeah, everyone can learn from someone. That assumes that you have all the knowledge you need and all the reasoning. That's not true.
Exactly.
That's perfect. Not true, and it's never true.
I don't need to learn from you, trash.
Yeah, exactly. You can learn. I've learned stuff from 16-year-olds. That's weird, but I've learned stuff from young people with little life experience. You can learn something from anyone.
Wouldn't you want Elon Musk to hear you out? Like what you had to say if you had
Yeah, exactly. Like people,
like,
people that speak out towards any authoritative figure. You want them to hear you, right? Now apply that to when someone younger is talking to you. They want you to hear them. It's the same thing.
Well, maybe not younger, but just not as informed.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe not necessarily, but yeah, the point. You want them to hear you, just like you want other people to hear you. It's a double-edged sword. It's the same thing.
Well, that's where you get into free speech.
Yeah, and that's a whole can of worms.
What do you think free speech is? Because I was just listening last night to a podcast. It wasn't a podcast, actually. It was the Piers Morgan show. It was hilarious.
Piers
Morgan was talking shit about Alex Jones, and then some other guy, the guy who goes out and he does the change my mind things.
Oh, Steven Crowder.
Steven Crowder was talking shit about Morgan Pierce Piers Morgan, because he was like, "You're an idiot. You're a fucking fraud. You're not following the First Amendment." And
that's
and then Piers Morgan goes, "Okay, and so because you think I'm a fraud and an idiot, I've brought him onto my show to discuss it." Puts him on camera. "Why do you think I'm a fraud?" And he goes, "Well, I think you're a fraud because this, that, and that." And they talk about it, but the key of the conversation is trying to define the First Amendment. Like, what do you think the First Amendment is?
Like me? I'd say so. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom to protest peacefully, among other things. But those are the big three.
The bounds of that. What's the limits of that? What is not considered to be free speech? What speech?
Any directly hateful or oppressive speech.
Yeah, so you're almost right on the dime. The correct definition in the Constitution is anything that incites violence. So anything that purposefully leads anyone else to perform violence. And Piers Morgan was saying that Alex Jones should not be let back on Twitter because he incites violence. And what's the other guy's name?
Steven
Crowder was explaining to how Alex Jones said that he was wrong about Sandy Hook and that he changed his mind and learned different information. And Piers Morgan was just saying that basically their argument was that Piers Morgan was saying Alex Jones knowingly lied to people, which caused violence. And Steven Crowder was saying that Alex Jones was not knowingly lying. And so they were kind of going back and forth a little bit, but it was really interesting to watch because they're such strong people. And I think that that's really cool that you had that accurate of a definition. So you would say your impression of free speech would be freedom of expression, freedom of press, freedom of expression,
freedom of press, and freedom to protest peacefully.
Yes, and then something that would not fall in the lines of that would be inciting of violence, correct?
Yep. Inciting violence or oppression.
Yes, exactly. And so with that, I think that you can incite oppression as fucked up as it is. I think you can.
Give an example of where that would be acceptable.
Like, you can't get arrested for being racist online. Not that you should. Not that you should, but you can't.
You can.
You can't.
Yeah, not that you should.
I can drop the N-word right now. No one could do anything. I'm not going to, though. Yeah. I just can't.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. People have...
I'd probably just get my shit rocked. But
he can do it.
Legally, I could.
Yeah. There's freedom. Yeah, you have freedom of speech, but you do not have freedom of consequence.
Yes, exactly. And so I would say inciting of oppression, as fucked up as it is, you can. And that's the wild thing about the First Amendment is that it's a free country. You can do whatever you want unless you're inciting violence. But now, one thing I would not be able to do is say like kill someone. Like you can't do that. You can't like do stuff like that because
Yeah.
that's illegal. That leads to an action that's violent, and it's just like not allowed. But
Exactly.
that's what Crowder was saying. Steven Crowder was saying no, and this was an old conversation. He was saying no, you can't tell someone that because they did something wrong in the past that they no longer have the freedom of speech and expression.
Mm-mm.
And Piers Morgan was like, his opinion was that Elon had originally said he wasn't going to allow Alex Jones back on Twitter, and then he later decided that he was going to do that.
Oh, your
And
camera vanished.
yeah, someone friggin' called me. I gotta turn on Do Not Disturb. One moment, folks. We're having some technical difficulties.
Everyone.
This is our first time. Sorry about that.
There we go. All right. Sorry
Y'all
about
good?
that. Sorry about that chat. Yeah. Okay.
There is no chat yet. Someone chat.
There's chat. There's 4 people watching.
Yeah, but there's no one chatting.
Oh yeah. You guys can chat. Like I say chat because you address chat. I'm used to this. So yeah. Sorry. What were we talking about?
You look pretty cute holding that mic.
What? What were we talking about?
Well, what are we talking about, Jake?
Oh yeah, you can't tell someone that they can't say something. They can. It's just that they have to be prepared to face the consequences. That
Correct.
is what people, I believe, sometimes miss when they say free speech. There's free speech, but there is not freedom of consequence. So,
Correct.
you know, speak wisely. That's what they're saying.
100%, yeah. And of course, violence is illegal, and
Yeah,
so you
and
shouldn't.
yeah.
hope
Don't
to be
incite
violence,
violence. Don't make like
But you might
death threats and stuff
friggin'
like that.
rock. So that's why we're trying to keep it a little bit nice here. We're not here to
Yeah, this is a chill environment. This is peaceful. You know,
super peaceful.
we're not here to
We
send
are
anyone
here to
after
make it
anyone. We're not here to cause a
Yeah.
riot. Nothing like that. We're just here
We're
to
here to
spread
be
the word.
peaceful. We're here to be smart and
We're
intelligent.
here to be zen.
We're here to be huge.
Zen. Zenny Wenny. Zenny Penny.
We're here to be weird. No.
We're here to be weird. Okay, yeah, so
No.
I have a question for you. Do you think that it's becoming more socially acceptable in this day and age for online prostitution? Online prostitution?
But yeah, no, 100%. I mean, you can go online and see like girls just like doing the most disturbing things in the world, and they're just like,
And and they're so casual about it. That's what I don't understand.
yeah, and then they're like, you broke out, you fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I feel like it's becoming an issue. Anyway,
Yeah, but fresh and fit is covering that.
yeah, we're not here to mooch off, steal Fresh and Fit's thunder.
We're just actually fresh and fit.
Yeah, we're just actually Fresh and Fit.
Fresh and Fit is a wonderful show, but I would say,
Yeah, they think it's okay for men to cheat. Okay, so funnily enough, so I was watching.
funnily enough,
No, yeah. So funnily enough,
funny enough.
funnily.
All right.
Funnily enough, so I watched this clip, and this guy was basically, he asked, we talked about this earlier. This guy was asking this guy a question. He was like, so when you make decisions, there's right and wrong, right? How do you know what's right and what is wrong? Because right and wrong is subjective, correct?
Incorrect.
Well, okay, yes.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
right.
blow your mind. We No, this is actually a great question, because how do we know what is right and what is wrong? And
Yeah.
my answer is God.
Yeah, because if there's no, because if there's no, like, if there's no, let's say, who do you answer to if not a higher power, correct? Like, where
Well,
do you get your moral, like, where would you get your sense of right and wrong?
well, it's as easy as this. If there is no purpose, if there is no higher, nothing lower, we are all just equal and not actually existing. Because if there's no God, there's nothing. We are just nothing. We're just a balance of existence and inexistence.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Exactly.
that's it. There is
Yep.
no right or wrong. You just are. You
Yeah.
just is.
You
There is
just are.
nothing.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
conversation to be had.
Yeah.
But with God, there is a higher reason. There is a purpose, and that creates good and bad. That
Yeah.
creates right.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, this I guess this could probably segue into the egg theory thing, but
Uh,
basically,
uh, uh.
oh yeah, chat. So has anyone here heard of the egg theory? If not, Will, you can give a brief explanation.
So the egg theory is, I'm going to be vulnerable here to you guys, is my real religious belief.
Go
I this
ahead.
if you were to ask me what do you believe in, I shit you not, I would look at you in the eyes and I would say, I believe that we are all an egg. I'm going to explain
Now
what I mean by
that may sound silly at first, but hear him out.
So the basic summary of it all is that we're all one person. We're all one soul, reliving different experiences, different lifetimes, every human lifetime that there is to exist, until we have experienced enough life to become a higher level of consciousness. And
Mm-hmm.
the idea, and it falls under essentially every religion. As we discuss this more and more, as you guys come back and watch more, we'll have stuff not just live streamed but posted. You're going to see that we always come back to the egg theory.
Yeah,
It's always something that is going to just show up in
it's our
conversation.
North Star, if you know what that means.
It's our North Star, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the idea that we are all one. No matter what religion you're talking about, no matter what physical phenomenon you're talking about, no matter what you're talking about, it goes back to the idea that we're all one. And think about death. I think that's a great thing to talk about, which is when you die, what happens? And I would argue, like, why do we have death? What is death?
Yeah.
Why do we have death if there's just going to be more life after? And I would argue that death has a reason, just like everything else, which is human mind and any type of mind can only hold so many experiences. Just like a computer hard drive can only hold so much information. And so
It's a good way to
you
put it.
die because you can only hold so much information. And so once you're dead, your information goes into, let's say, the universe for now. And because the universe would be a part of the egg.
Yeah.
And you're born again. Your soul then moves on to a next life. Your experiences are always forever in the universe or heaven or hell or whatever life you've created for yourself. And then your soul goes on to a new life. And it would say that reincarnation's kind of correct, while also heaven and hell is correct, because you kind of go two different ways after you've passed. And it also speaks to the fact of a balance in life. There is always, for every action, there is an opposite yet equal reaction. And I'm just kind of spitting stuff right now, but it all makes sense. It really does make sense. And probably for years and years and years, I'm going to sound like an idiot, but once people start watching really everything and putting the dots together, you're going to understand. Like, clearly me and Jake are pretty articulate, like well thought out people, and this is the conclusion that I have come to.
Yeah,
and kind of Jake,
keep in mind, this is after like talks and talks and talks. Like, this is and it's all off the dome too. Most of it is
a lot of weed.
Yeah, and that's that too. So yeah, a good way to,
Count
I guess, an easier way to put that would be like take
kilos.
take us as like, so once your storage is full, once your storage is full, you quote unquote reset, and that's, I
Well,
guess
it's not even like once your storage is full. It's more that God created us knowing that we would only be able to hold this much information approximately, and so that we would live this long. And then you have things like early and horrible deaths, so that because you're living out every human experience there is to live out, all the good and all the bad.
yeah,
And that would give reason to bad things happening, is because as bad as they are, they give purpose to a higher conscious later on.
it's perfect
Like all the
segue.
things that people don't understand, it's like, why is this so bad? Why did this just happen? For just to be forgotten and never even thought about again. And it's like, no, it's not forgotten. It's not never going to be thought about again. It's still there. It's just going to be used very far in the future for such a high power that you can't even understand it.
Yep, and that segues into my next point, karma. So everyone knows the concept of karma, but
Yeah.
bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. Why do you think?
Do you want my opinion?
Yeah.
I think it's because, just like I was saying, if I'm correct and we are all one person, that means that Hitler is the same person as every single person that he killed. And there's a video about it where they say this. And as well as Jesus is the same person as every person who has ever followed him. And I think that really speaks to something about karma, which is anything bad you put into the world in some life or another is going to come back to you.
Yeah, and that's where, and now earlier we kind of phrase that as, what if karma is, now hear us out on this, the quote unquote fourth law of physics.
Explain, because I don't remember that conversation.
So remember how I said, so the concept of karma, right, where good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people, but that's not true. Bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. Now, if we're all one consciousness, like we are under the egg theory, that would mean that karma is basically a law. Or not a, like a law. Yeah, a law.
Well, I now understand what you're saying. The way I would phrase it is that karma is a conscious phenomenon or a manifestation.
Yeah.
So if you look at humanity as one soul, like let's just say for conversation's sake, you look at humanity as just one thing, and then you look at this bad thing and that bad thing. Altogether, it is somehow connected. If you're looking back in time or then in the future and understand new things, it is all, there is cause and effect. That's the world we live in, meaning that every good thing that ever happened has been affected by every bad thing that has ever happened, vice versa. Meaning that, like, if you really just take a step back and view humanity as one conscious like entity, then every good thing that we do is just as our fault as every bad thing that we do.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah.
Worst things in the world are just as much your fault as their fault. It's like as crazy as it sounds.
Yeah, exactly. And that creates a good balance where, you know, you have all the good stuff, not all the good stuff, but good stuff, and you have bad stuff, because if you have all good, then you don't have a sense of the bad, and vice versa, and that creates that lopsided mentality.
Yeah, totally.
Some people have, yeah.
Now, yeah, I mean it's
yeah,
really
exactly. Keep going.
I think that it's just like, I think that it's very weird. I don't really understand.
It is. And now
it's something that we've been talking about for a very long time, though. It's something that we have thought about for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like it's a really funny story. I'm gonna say it because we're on Rumble. I think I'm allowed to say this. I first discovered the egg theory when I was on mushrooms, and my buddy, who I was at school with at the time, he was like, "You're on mushrooms, man?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Hey, check this out," and he sent me a video about like the egg theory, describing it. And I felt like such an idiot at the time because I was sitting there going like, "Oh my God,
Look at
I
this,
believe in this. Like I know
bro.
this
Yeah.
is true." And then literally after the experience on the mushrooms, I like kind of forgot about it. And then I something reminded me of the egg. I went back and watched the video, and I was like, "What the
Wait a
fuck?"
second.
I still fucking entirely agree with this. What the what the
What
heck?
the hell? Yeah.
And so then I started like doing some research and stuff, and I started to like just toy around with the idea of it, not necessarily believe in it, but just kind of like toss around, like think logically about if that's how things were going.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to realize that I was making all these connections to this fictional story that I had in my mind, and I was like, wait a minute, this perfectly matches life.
Mm-hmm. And that,
And
yeah.
then I was like, yo, wait a minute. What if I started actually like kind of believing in this and talking to people as if I did believe in this?
Like going down the
And
rabbit hole.
and at that point I started reading the Da Vinci Code, and I was like,
You're like,
because
wait a
Da
minute.
Vinci Code, this if you want to get deep into my idealism, like real quick tonight here, we can talk about literally the divine feminine and the divine masculine.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Hell yeah.
that's something that I've barely even talked to you, Jake, about. There's a lot of stuff, Jake, I've thought about that I haven't even brought up with you that like we can talk about. One being, and I've talked to you about this, but the divine feminine and the holy masculine, which
Yeah,
is,
you talked to me a little bit about that.
and this goes into more Bible theory that we'll touch on another day. But essentially, the theory is that God God is our Father, but that God comes from a world where there's a bunch of other gods, and that there's also a mother,
Mm-hmm.
and that just like us, who are created in the eyes and image of God, we have to procreate with someone else.
Yeah.
And so the idea would be that there's a feminine deity as well as a masculine deity, and a lot of religions believe in this. Even there's some touch on a holy feminine in Christianity, but the idea would be that there's a higher power, and this is where you get into the like interstellar insemination theory, which is like they're far, far away. There's a higher power that had a child, and essentially that child is us. And my argument would be that we aren't necessarily developed yet, and that we're yet to be born.
We're like a fetus, pretty much, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Inside of an egg, developing and growing, which I think is pretty
And
dope.
what would you say? Like, what's the objective of us being in the egg? Like, what would you say is our end goal?
So I think that this is really cool. The CIA actually, and I don't know if this is even true, I just saw this on the internet. The CIA said that, I think I saw this on Joe Rogan podcast, that the CIA, someone in the CIA says that aliens or something view us as containers.
Oh.
And that I think that's literally our purpose in life, is to contain experiences so that our collective energy can create life. It's like in the sense that like when you have a developing fetus, you have a bunch of chemicals that are each doing separate jobs.
Yeah.
Like if you viewed me, Will Vendetti, as a type of chemical, a human, that I'm the chemical and I am human, then I'm interacting with my environment, my other chemical environment, and I'm doing my chemical purpose, and they're doing their chemical purpose and my chemical purpose. And I'm just using terms that like you can kind of understand.
This
My
for comparison
purpose
purposes.
is to collect and contain energy, or energy in the form of experiences.
Yep.
And by doing that, I am fulfilling my purpose. That's kind of my idea with it all.
I like
Which
that.
is,
And now
yeah, and the
that brings,
CIA supposedly agrees with me, which
yeah,
is pretty cool.
I like, and yeah, I saw that article. What was the title? They were talking about the psychotrony. I didn't even know that was a word. They were talking about the psychotrony of the universe, and they're basically like, if the universe is psychotronic, whatever the hell, they basically what they did was like try to apply math, like trying to find like it's like trying to apply math to subjective philosophies or explanations. Like here, I need to find that article. Okay?
I'm gonna go to my car.
Yep.
So I just won't be able to see you on my other computer.
Yeah, no worries, man.
But we'll keep chatting.
Yeah, they tried integrating math and psychology to discuss consciousness, pretty much. And
Explain that.
They try to, yeah. And then I say, now my opinion on that was that it's a good approach, but it didn't account for the fact that math is objective. It has a correct answer, right? And consciousness is not. There's no correct answer to consciousness. It's subjective. So that's where I feel like they failed, taking an objective approach to a subjective experience.
Dude, that is insanely sciencey and complicated. I don't really understand what you're saying, but
I know. But basically they're trying to say, hey, this is right and wrong to consciousness, but consciousness can't be right or wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what I was saying. And you said,
but what do you mean consciousness can't be right or wrong?
Like the answer to consciousness or life, right? Order of operations, all this stuff. They think that there's order in consciousness and life. Now, where I say to that, my rebuttal would be the natural order is disorder or chaos, whatever you want to call it.
Think about this. My mind's doing something weird. What if you viewed 1 as 3, 2 as, like, bear with me, 1 as 2.
Yep.
I mean, 1 as 3, 1 as, fuck, scratch. You look at 1 as, when I say 1, I mean 3, okay?
Yeah.
2, I mean 6. And when I say 3, I mean 9. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have 1, 2, 3 is actually 3, 6, 9, which is the fundamental code of the world, the Fibonacci sequence.
Yeah.
You know what the Fibonacci sequence is?
0, 1, 1, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're really good at it. Well, 3, 6, 9, those numbers somehow mean the Fibonacci sequence. And what's his name? Nikola Tesla, he's the one who like figured this stuff out. And those numbers are the reality that we exist in.
Yeah.
And then everything in between is everything else. So when we're looking at math, when we say 1, what actually we're talking about is 3. And in a sense that like I may see red when you see blue, it's like that could apply to numbers. That could apply to fucking anything. We have no idea about the world we live in.
Exactly.
And so, like, that's what I mean in the sense that there's so many illusions that could be happening right in front of our eyes that we could decipher if we understood
the fundamentals.
What are the like the thing I don't understand about math is like what are the numbers we're talking about? Other than like the value placement for an object, what does that mean? Because we use math other than value placement for objects.
Your camera's
off. Gosh. Yeah, I know. I got another call. I got a text lady girl.
Bros blowing up. So wait, if we assume if we assume that there's order in consciousness, right? What would make our consciousness different from any? So what would make our consciousness different from our universe? Explain a little deeper. So the driving factors of consciousness are, I guess, so you have sentience, morals or values, or.
But that has nothing to do with like 99.999999999% of the universe. Like most of it is
chaotic, right?
Yeah, it's nothingness. It's just like physical reactions. It has nothing to do with morals.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm just thinking out loud.
No, yeah, I got you. Now, I feel like would they be one and the same? Consciousness and chaos or disorder? Because the natural order, at least I think the natural order is disorder. So, and our
well, think about this. What if instead of using the word disorder, chaos? What if chaos is the ultimate divine order?
Ooh.
If that makes any sense.
Oh wait, no.
Like
that actually
you know that thing. where they drop those balls randomly and they always fall in the wavelength.
Yeah.
It's like randomness actually does have order. It's just in a way that our minds can't comprehend.
Yeah.
I think that's what this all roots back to. If you want my true opinion, it's that end of the day, there's something in front of us, literally there's a bunch of things right in front of us that our brains just aren't picking up on.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the same sense that, like, that fucking gate door thing I'm looking at is gate door is just words we've came up with. Like, that's just a collection of molecules. It really isn't anything at all.
Yeah, we just call it a door.
Exactly. And so I forget what comparison I was making with that, but yeah.
So basically, what was I saying? Oh yeah. I was gonna say, so Will, are you familiar with the heat death theory of the universe?
No, but let me say something really quickly because I saw something hilarious.
Yeah.
If genitals don't affirm gender, how does removing them affirm it?
Ooh. Gotcha, bitch. No.
There's this guy I follow on Instagram,
Yeah.
and his name is Data Right Stuff, and he just goes to restaurants and he just says like crazy quotes. I'll say a few of them. I made it to the. Never mind. He does dumb shit now. He's a fucking weirdo now.
He fell off.
But he used to like sit in restaurants and say like the most wild shit.
Huh. That's it's quite the
like that you would
the,
never think about.
Yeah, that's quite the form of content. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So basically the heat death theory is basically that eventually, and this goes back to order and disorder. So eventually so basically right now the earth, so a big question is, what does the earth get from the sun, right? And now most people say energy, heat, warmth, all that stuff. Yes, now that is true, but energy can't be used up. So what happens to that energy that we use? It gets radiated back into space. Exactly, we radiate the exact amount that we get from the sun back into space. Otherwise the earth would get way hotter, way more quickly, and life would cease to exist. Now, the heat death theory basically states that eventually this will continue until the universe reaches complete entropy, and entropy is the amount of energy spread out over a given space. So basically, after enough time has passed, the universe will reach a point where nothing interesting, that's the term for disorder, nothing interesting will ever happen again. And we'll just reach a
where everything's happened.
Bingo.
Yeah,
Bingo.
So think about this. You know how like light can stain a picture into a mirror?
Yeah.
So what if, just like that same idea, what if like you're constantly burning your experience into the fabric of the universe? Your energy is always then that you put out is always secured in the universe, your memory. And it's also secured in your mind because you have a thing that can experience it. So a tiny piece of that memory is also energy is burned into your mind. But the same thing happens to the universe that happens to you. And so what if you're actively printing out your memory experiences into the fabric of the universe? And so when you die, a piece of your memory doesn't go somewhere. It's already there. You've been putting it there your whole life by the energy you put out.
I like that. That's a good one.
It's almost like soul printing on the universe.
Yeah,
that's how I'd define it.
Yeah. Now think about it this way: if you put a drop of food coloring into a glass of water, at first it'll spread. It'll start spreading out, making all these different shapes. That is disorder, and that is where we're currently at in the stage of life.
Yes.
And then eventually it'll settle.
It'll be everywhere.
Yeah, eventually it'll settle out, and the whole water will be blue, right? And that
even
is
if
the heat death.
You
that
can't.
Is entropy.
This is cool. This makes sense. You cannot use the term infinity if you're talking about anything inside the glass.
Yes.
So infinity doesn't apply in our universe because you're talking about anything inside of our universe.
Yeah.
So that's
contained.
not infinite.
Yeah, it's contained, which makes it by definition finite.
So that's why people who use the argument of infinity, it does not apply.
It doesn't work. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that, so with the eggs,
They're like, what's before that? What's after that? I don't know. I'm not
yeah, we
talking.
don't know, and that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what we're right now, not.
Bam.
Yeah. And so now, use that food coloring and water analogy. That's a good way to explain where we're coming from. That's what we mean by chaos and disorder. That's where we're currently at. We're currently at the point where you had just put the drop of water in the food color, or the drop of food coloring in the water. Yeah.
And human experiences and memories are the food coloring, correct?
Yeah. Yep. And
Bam.
eventually, those memories will settle out to like a
Throughout all of the universe.
yeah, and that is where the whole water is blue. So think about it that way.
The water is the universe, the dye is our experiences in that universe, and the bottle is us, the ability to create experiences.
Bingo.
Containers.
Okay. Yeah.
We contain the ability to create, which is God.
Which is
we are developing God.
Yeah. Do you guys see how it's all like, yeah? But yeah,
am I right or am I right?
Yeah, do you guys see like what we mean? Because like every time we have these conversations, it leads back to the same thing, and that is why. And that's why I can't completely disregard this, because I will admit I'm way more narrow-minded than Will is, so I kind of I have a tendency to resist or just resist these types of things. But when it keeps coming back to the same thing, it gets hard to resist it. It took me well
over a year to get Jake to even consider this.
Yeah, exactly. But
because I'm curious. I discover I'm like, ooh, what if? Jake's like, no.
Yeah, exactly. I'm more traditional kind of guy, but if
you're a devil's advocate by nature.
Yes, but if presented with enough, evidence or links and conclusions, that's where I start to open up, and I had to, because all this stuff is leading back to the same thing, so I can't ignore.
Well, there's nature and logic.
Yes, yeah. I tend to, Will knows I tend to divert to logic almost 100% of the time.
And I look to nature, which Jake doesn't as much. I think about like the nature of and like why does that happen, like what's going on, and Jake more thinks what facts involve this.
Yeah, and that's why we make a good team, just like man and women, because we're complementary. We are not equal. We are complementary. Which means
Jake's my husband.
Yes, because if we're equal, then one has no need for the other, because one can do the exact thing the other can do. But if you're complementary, then you need to work together, just like man and woman, and that brings us to divine masculine and the divine feminine. Do you see?
There's two genders.
Do you see?
Two genders.
Do you see where we're coming from here now? Are you guys starting to get it? Like it.
Well, even on the line of like the holy masculine and the holy feminine, there's no holy transvestite.
Yeah, exactly. Like
we're made in the image of God.
Yeah. Now people, I will say, people bring up the spectrum. Now this can be a bit controversial, but people bring up the spectrum argument, and my answer to that is this: on a spectrum, there's all this in between, right? What are they in between? They're in between 2 points.
I just think that, listen, I really have nothing against.
Yeah, I have nothing against it. That's just what I think.
I just think that people have. So Carl Jung is my favorite. He's a philosopher from the early 1800s, and this is my explanation every single time, which is he says the subconscious, not the conscious mind. The conscious mind is you. That's who you are. But your subconscious is the parts of you that you don't necessarily have control over, the one that creates the thoughts in the first place. And so your subconscious is made up of different characteristics per se.
Yeah.
The anime and the animus. The feminine.
He said anime.
Characteristic and the masculine characteristic.
Hmm.
And men have more of, I think they are the animus, and then women have more of the anime, which is your characteristics. It means that women have masculine characteristics and men have feminine characteristics,
Yeah,
but you are still by design
by
more
design.
masculine and more feminine, not by how you feel, but by how your body is physically made.
Yeah,
And so that's where I stand on it.
yeah,
It's talking about how you are created. You can feel like very feminine, but that means that you probably have more self-discovery to do and you have a whole lot more of yourself to connect with. And so the way I view it, it's like when I see someone who's struggling with that, I view it as like, wow, I really hope that they can really discover themselves soon.
yeah. And yeah, now, yeah, and with me, so you can like what I said before with the spectrum thing, you can be anything you like within the spectrum. I don't care. But at the end of the day, you're still between 2 points.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yes.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's all like yeah, you can have gray area. There's gray there's gray area in everything. There's a spectrum. Yes, you can be in between, but you're always in between 2 points. That will never
Totally.
change. But
Yeah,
so
no,
yeah, that's just
exactly.
my stance on it.
Yeah, I think that it's it's a new issue, and so I understand why people are struggling with it, but I just think it's unfortunate on how it's been like marketed and
Mm-hmm. It's
politicized.
being
Because I think that at this
politicized
point,
and
people
pushed.
people are getting taken advantage of for agendas that they don't even know are happening, and it's in the name of something they're very passionate about
Yeah,
and they're confused about. And so it's like
confusion.
I
That's a good word.
understand it. I totally understand it, like where those people are coming from. It's just like
Yeah, absolutely.
I personally think that there is more to those people's lives that they are yet to discover. And sometimes they end up wishing they didn't do the irreversible things they're doing to their body because they have then discovered that part of themselves that
Yep.
wants wants that for themselves.
Yeah. That's why I feel like people shouldn't be making these decisions so hastily, because it can be it's most of the time it's irreversible and you can
And
regret
don't
it.
get me started on the pedophilia behind it all.
Oh
That's where we get
god,
into
yeah, that's
do
where it
your
becomes an
parents.
actual problem.
Well, that's where the topic of the question, do your parents know about Bohemian Grove, comes from.
Yep.
It's like your parents definitely know about Epstein's Island, and so why don't they know about Bohemian Grove?
Exactly, exactly. Oh man. Exactly. Oh my goodness. And it's like, and now that can lead some, not me, but that can lead some to the conclusion that people are doing um selective information intake,
Yeah,
which is it happens, yes, but either that or they're just ignorant, which I hope it's not the
yeah,
latter. So yeah.
100%. Yeah, people are just whack.
Yeah. And
Look what I'm
now,
eating. Oh,
huh?
I'm eating.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Drink of the gods. Get it.
bust down, rolly
Bust down,
avalanche.
rolling. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So with the holy masculine and the holy feminine. So my question is, um when people say that men and women are equal, I feel like if they're going by the traditional definition of equal, that would mean that we can do the same things, we have the same capabilities, we are at equilibrium, correct? If that is the case, one has no need. If that's the case, one has no need for the other. Um, Now, I can tell you that right now, that isn't true. If we need each other for different things. We're complementary. And I feel like that's better than being equal. I feel like that's better because then that creates purpose for both sides. If we're equal, one has no purpose, but that's not true. So,
Well, the question is, what is equality if we are different? Equality would mean that there is no man, there is no woman. There just is human.
They're just
And clearly that's not the case.
Yeah, clearly that's not the case.
It's not a question of being equal or not. It's a question of, are we different? Okay, awesome. Great. So there's man and there's woman. Thank you. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Nothing more, nothing less. I'm not saying one is more useless than the other. I'm saying we have different skills, different attributes that we use, that we cooperate with to form, I guess, life in this case. So yeah.
I dropped my Hershey Kiss.
Why was that so funny to me? That was so random. It's just like, I dropped my Hershey Kiss.
Dude, I'm rewatching it and I look so sad. Clip. I dropped my Hershey Kiss. Yeah, we're gonna clip that. We're gonna send that out. We're gonna hopefully become famous of it. I got another one. Ready for the toss? Ready?
Yeah. Hey, let's go. Oh my goodness.
Bro, my aunt gave me a little bag of candy.
Yeah? Oh yeah, you know, that reminds me, I still have...
What?
It's because we were on vacation.
What? Dude, I don't even understand that.
I still haven't. It's because we went on vacation. We went on vacation because we left on Christmas Eve and we didn't... Oh man, I gotta do that. I gotta do that after this. But yeah,
Whoever's watching this right now, I don't know how you're not roasting him.
You should be roasting the fuck out of me. I will take anything, but whatever.
You said what? You take anything?
Pause.
Pause.
Fuck, that's gonna get clipped out of context. Oh no.
Clip.
No. I've already ended my career. This is our first. This is our first stream. God.
You can do anything to me.
You can. Oh god, I just realized that. That's fuck. Well, you know what, guys, clip that and go. Clip that and go crazy. I don't care. Do it. Miss. Oh, okay. You like catching things in your mouth?
Clipped.
Fuck, dude, that's twice in less than 5 minutes. All right. Oh my god. Oh yeah, where's that little?
We're gonna make a compilation of Jake being gay.
Can someone make a compilation of Jake's sus moments, please? I'd love to have that. There's another one.
I love the way you put that Jake sus moments. It's like a Minecraft thing. If you guys didn't know, Jake is a ex-Minecraft YouTuber.
Guys, I'm an ex-Minecraft YouTuber. Guys, please check out my channel. No, I'm kidding.
He's not kidding.
Oh yeah, do you still have that? Oh yeah, I'm actually not kidding. Please check out my channel. Do you still have that pocket Bible? Do you still have? Oh, well, look at this.
I can't see. I can see the stream, but it's like delayed by like 30 seconds.
Okay, so yeah, just wait 30 seconds until you see this. You'll see it in just a second.
Yeah, I think you're about to do it. He's struggling to open that. Oh!
Yeah. Now,
dude, that's super sick.
Oh yeah, dude, there's this dude there. Oh my god, there was this dude at college who, like, he coined the catchphrase "super sick nasty" in that order.
It's delayed.
Yeah, I know. It's always delayed. That's normal. What was I gonna say? Oh wait, don't you have me on your phone?
No, it's a computer.
or Discord, whatever the hell. Yeah, I'm looking at. I have OBS on one, Discord on one, and then the stream on another. So yeah.
I have Discord on this and VDO on this, and then Rumble on there.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, do you still have that pocket Bible on you? He whips out the pocket Bible.
New Testament.
Yeah, Chad, always keep a pocket Bible on you. If you don't, I would suggest that.
Oh, I've wanted to do this. Guys, this is just a little tiny Bible, and I want to look at the table of context. Hold on, I'm going to finish reading for a second.
Yeah.
That's exactly my time, yo. Look, you can do cool tricks with a little Bible.
Wait, you should put it between your pecs and then squeeze it out. Pause. God, bro.
Between my pecs and rip it.
Oh, yeah. Just feel like.
I wish, bro.
Superman and
all right, so listen to this, guys. So this is, in the table of context, they've labeled it as life with God and life without God. This is life without God, and this is very interesting. This is everything you'll experience without God in your life versus everything you'll experience with God in your life from tiny little pocket testament.
Yeah.
Abortion, abuse, addicted, afraid, anxiety, away from God, bitter, critical, death, depression, disaster, discouraged, failing, forgiveness, friends fail, future, ? Gambling, guidance, guilty, leaving home, peace, pornography, relationships, seeking God, sexual temptation, sickness, pain, sorrow, grief, stress, suicide, temptation, trouble, weary, worried. So those are some things that you will experience in your life without God.
Mm-hmm.
And then some things that some more things you'll experience in your life without God. Some of these have already been mentioned, but we've also got adultery, anger, anxiety, bitterness, death, depression, dishonesty, doubt, darkness, fear, gossip, greed, guilt, insecurity, laziness, lust, lying, peer pressure, revenge, self-righteousness, sex, sin, stealing, stress, suicide, swearing, temptation, terror, war, and then living in today's world with God, you get this. Listen to this. This is living with God. You get abundance of life, assurance, caring for God's creations, compassion, content, courage, diligence, endurance, faithfulness, forgiveness, generosity, gentleness, godliness, good work, guidance, gratitude, holiness, honesty, hope, humility, integrity, joy, kindness, love, meek, mercy, obedience, overcoming, patience, peace, prayer, purity, reading the Bible, reverence, righteousness, self-control, serving others, sharing faith, sincerity, steadfastness, trust, truth, victory, wisdom, and worship. And these are all things that you will get when you stay in the Lord's Prayer.
Now, chat, all the things he just listed, not under God, have you noticed that those are also the most common problems in Gen Z in today's society?
The society without God.
Without God. Now I'm not trying to imply anything here, but you know.
Well, then why do you say everyone's becoming? Why do like dads and stuff say everyone's weak?
Yeah.
It's because you're weak without God.
Yeah, and then and that's simply.
And why don't people want to follow God?
And that brings us to the question: why don't people just? Yeah, and they say it's too hard. It's not.
Why do I do that? It's too hard. You do that because it's good for you.
Yeah,
it's hard because it should be hard if it's good for you.
No, if it's easy, then it's not effective.
No, 100%.
It's like,
which is which is
lifting weights. If you're lifting 1-pounders day, you could lift 1-pounders for 100 days straight, versus someone lifting 100-pounders for 10 days straight. Which do you think is going to improve more? See? So yeah, if it's easy,
I have no idea.
It'd be the 100-pounder for 10 days straight.
Oh, word.
Yeah, because that's the more difficult method. You're pushing yourself more. If you're lifting 1-pounders for 100 days straight, it's not going to be as much as someone who lifts 100-pounders for 10 days straight, because they're putting in more work and it's more difficult, so they get a bigger reward. And this is what I feel like people are missing with religion, you know? That's awesome. Simply put in more work. You'll reward yourself more. You're not gonna get the rewards you want by taking the easy way out, and that applies to basically everything in life. So yeah.
I would like to take this moment. Oh, I would like to take this moment. 1 second.
I would like to take this moment.
I would like to take. I would like to take this moment.
Oh yeah, 2:00 I have to leave, by the way. Just like you know.
Okay.
That's a 2-hour stream.
Oh shit.
So we got 25 minutes. Chat, ask question. I know this is our first stream and all, but like you guys can ask questions if you want. We're not opposed to it.
Yes.
We won't shut you down. In fact, we're open. That's the difference. We're here. We're open to discussion. We want to hear your thoughts because that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, so text us.
Yeah.
Or chat us.
Yeah, just chat.
Yo, my hair is.
Yeah, get a haircut, bro, or wear a beanie.
I'll wear your beanie.
Will you? Mm-hmm. That's another one. Oh my god. Oh my.
Bro, fucking Coles, bruh.
Did you hear? Oh yeah. So there was like I forgot, but there was no. I do remember. Actually, I don't. But there was this clip of Fresh and Fit where Sneeko is basically saying that the Quran is the ideal, quote unquote, the ideal way to live life.
I didn't see that. I don't know much about the Quran.
Yeah, me neither. But I felt like if I read, at least if I read it, Oh yeah, one of the points he made was that I remember now. He said a woman of purity is made for a man of purity, and a woman of impurity is made for a man of impurity. Do you agree?
I agree with that.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that as well.
I think another term of putting that is I think this is that reminded me of something important. It's not exactly the same thing. It's you and George Janko talks about this.
We're gonna go into that soon.
Big dog George Janko, love George Janko.
We're gonna go into that soon.
But he says that as long God's gonna give you one of his daughters that he believes is worth your treatment. So like the way you treat all women,
interesting.
That's the kind of girl God's gonna give you.
Oh,
so if
I like that.
If you refer and think of women as like whores and stuff like that, it's like God's gonna give you one.
You're gonna give.
The second you like hold the door for every woman and treat women with respect, because then God's gonna give you a daughter of his that's worth respecting.
That's why. See, yeah, and now think. Actually, that's a good point, and that actually makes sense as to why why my current girlfriend is the way she is right now, because she was meant for me. Yeah.
Everybody, are you ready to do a freeze dance today? All right, let's go. This dance gonna get you on the cold.
Oh yeah, I can add like background music to these podcasts. I just have to be careful of copyright.
Little dance party there. Yeah, that is copyright, but we don't have to post that. We can just do it.
We can just clip that out easily.
Unless one of our little shit. Oh, we're dancing. I see. On that. It's hilarious.
Dude, I just
I
had a
can
stroke.
add
What was
like
that?
background music.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. Here's an interesting question. So you know how earlier we were talking about Mary Magdalene and how she was misconceived as a prostitute, right?
Yeah.
If that were true, if she truly was a prostitute, could one person take that and make the argument that prostitution is biblical and therefore acceptable?
No,
Why not?
because all who came to Jesus were sinners looking for forgiveness.
Ah, there you go.
And so like every human on earth sins.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, absolutely.
But it was you're a sinner going to Jesus for forgiveness.
Yeah, yeah. So clearly, they viewed it as unacceptable, sinful even. So with that
And I think
being,
Jesus was just a person who realized that he was what I think we all are.
keep in mind Jesus was Jewish as well. So
Yeah. Well, he lived in an area
yeah.
where people were Jews, and
Yeah.
it says he was a Jew.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And now that brings to the forefront. Why do you think there's so much? Why do you think online prostitution? That's what I'm calling it, by the way, because that's just the proper term. Why do you think online prostitution is so prominent now? If it's sinful.
Because the marketability of sex.
Bingo.
Everyone says it. Like if you look at old movies about business and stuff, they're like, "Sex sells, kid." It's like it's true.
Yeah. Well, that is true. It does. That's true, but that doesn't mean it's okay.
It doesn't mean it's okay, but I think it also means that people are just not doing what's okay.
Yeah.
If you're not aligned with God, you're not going to do what's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Humans are built to worship, and if you worship yourself, then you're going to start doing things that aren't good.
Yeah.
Because you're not worth worshiping.
I've seen people make the argument where they're like, "Oh, you can follow God and still be an online prostitute." I disagree with that. You're not
Why do we
truly
worship
following
God?
God.
Why do we think about this? Why do we worship God? Because every single human being, the ones that say they're worth worshiping, we know are not.
Mhm.
And the ones that we think are worth worshiping don't think that they're worth worshiping.
Okay.
It's like no one thinks they're worth worshiping because they're not. God is.
That's a great.
And if you think you're worth worshiping, you're
most
literally
likely not. Yeah. Actually, yeah. By you doing that, by thinking that you are worth worshiping, you are not.
Well, that means
Or at
you're
least
one
you
of the
can
worst
be.
kind of people.
Hmm?
That means you're one of the worst kind of people.
Yeah, exactly. You're the opposite. And that's the irony. You have to think in order to you can't think that you are worthy of worship and be worthy of worship, because that's arrogance, and arrogance is not worthy of worship. It's contradictory.
Correct. I totally agree.
Yeah. And that begs the question. People like to bring this up, not the question, but that brings up the point that I'll see people say that you can follow God and still be you can still sell your body online for $14.99, and that's not true.
Correct.
If you are doing that, then you are not truly following God. You're just lying to yourself.
You can ask for forgiveness, but forgiveness comes from within.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So you can't just go, "Please forgive me."
Please forgive me, please.
You have to, one of two things. This is my opinion of it. You have to either, because some people are beyond what they can imagine to be forgiveness. The people who aren't, the people who think they're worth forgiving, have to forgive themselves. It's a person. You have to forgive yourself. And then someone who consciously can't be forgiven by themselves, like, let's say you murdered someone or something like that, then you have to ask God for forgiveness, because then he is the one who can, and Jesus is the one who can. And so you have to ask yourself for forgiveness, ask God for forgiveness. And you may not receive it from yourself, you probably won't. And don't expect it from the world, but God will give it to you because God has all the power. God understands that you're just playing a role that's beyond you.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
That's why you hear like, oh, villains, it's always a product of their life. It's like, yeah, so that means they're just a product of God, and that means it's pretty bad. So that means that if they just ask to be forgiven, then God will, because it was his doing.
Yeah.
They just have to acknowledge that it was bad.
I see some people say that we're living in a villain's world and they made it perfectly. And that's not necessarily true, because that would mean the world is inherently bad. And I would make the argument that it's inherently good. It's just that we tend to focus more on the negative.
Well, think about every like movie about good guy versus bad guy. It's pretty shitty for the good guy the whole time. And then at the end, the guy like comes out on top because they went through all the struggle and grew from it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what's happening right now. Is we're just sharp. Like, this is my opinion. I think the world is so shit that like human beings, like I don't even know who, but like I think I'm one of those people. I think you're one of those people. We're being sharpened by this world. And so I think that we're going to go into the world and create families based upon really strong, valid beliefs. And that's going to really go into the world in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think it's so important to have children, is because you're creating people that you can instill your beliefs in.
Mm-hmm. And now, wait, hold on. What was I thinking of? Sorry,
and they're free to have their own beliefs, but if you're right, they'll hopefully come to them at some point. And that's what faith is, knowing that you're right and that they'll come to terms with it at some point.
I was gonna say. Oh, have you heard of the prison? Wait, no. Wasn't that? It was something else. Oh, I forgot what it was, but basically it was this study on gay. Oh, now I remember. So they were talking about the development of the nuke back in the day, in the late 40s, and they were
Einstein.
Yeah, and they were discussing on how
1 second, Jake.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, I gotta get off.
You got to? All right, chat. We're gonna end this a little bit early. Thank you for everyone that was able to pop in. Yeah, we'll be doing this hopefully on a consistent schedule. We'll try to do this weekly, if not bi-weekly. And yeah, it'll just be pretty much the same as this stream.
Yeah, just follow us and then you can check out.
Yeah, don't remember to follow, like, comment, and subscribe.
Well, they can't do that to a stream.
Yeah. So yeah, and after
just follow us and check out our videos.
Yeah, we will be we will be posting our clips on TikTok and stuff like that. So keep an eye out for those. All right. Anyways, yeah. So thank you, chat, and we'll see you in the next stream. Peace.
All right. Okay.